guys, greetings from Bulgaria, and I'm shooting the video from my new old office because I moved into a different place and I had to rearrange everything. I hope that you're seeing me well. And it's time for a new video from our JUnit tutorial for beginners, combining it with Selenium. Let me share my screen. There will be many exciting stuff in this new video. In the first video, we talked about JUnit and why you should care about it. And we compare it to other test frameworks as well. Then in the second video from our tutorial, I showed you how you can set up your environment and how you can run your tests from the command line. If you miss it, check the description and you will find links to all of the previous videos. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel of Lambda Test because they're each week they're really awesome videos. So you can click it and get notified about our new videos. And also you may check the Lambda Test blog where there are many detailed articles about JUnit, Selenium, and they're really awesome and long and detailed compared to everything you can find online. So in the third video, it is one of the most detailed videos that I did. We talked about the annotations or the meta information in JUnit. And in this video today, we are going to talk about another important thing in Selenium testing. These are the assertions in JUnit. But also first, we need to write our first Selenium test, right? So let me show you our demo application. This is our demo application, Lambda test, GitHub IO, simple to do. Basically, this is a web application that simulates to-do application where you can uncheck stuff, you can add something, and then in our test, we're going to add one new item, and we are going to verify whether it's here or not. And of course, if you refresh, it won't be there. Don't forget, in the links below, you will find a link to our GitHub repository where you can clone for each of the chapters the source code. You can play with it. And also inside the GitHub repo, you're going to find the slides, but most of the time you won't need them. You just need the code. So let's begin. This is our, from the last time, we have these calculator tests where we wrote JUnit tests, and I showed you different annotations. Right now, we first need, in order to work with Selenium, we need two new dependencies. The first one is, of course, the Selenium dependency. In the POM XML, you need, in the dependencies block, you need to copy this, Selenium, HQ, Selenium Java, and I'm using the new Selenium 4, which was released a couple of weeks ago. We have been waiting for it for a long time. And also, you need one more dependency for downloading automatically for you the needed drivers for the different browsers. It's called WebDriver Manager. And when you paste these two dependencies, you need to click here the refresh button, and IntelliJ will download these dependencies automatically for you. We'll see what this means. I hope that it will be resolved when we run the test. And next, we need to create a new, basically we can copy this class here. I will name it first Selenium tests. I will add it to source control, and we'll delete some of the stuff. I will leave after each. If you remember these annotations, basically this is run before all of the tests inside this class. And also the before each is run before each of the tests, after the execution of the tests, and we'll need one test that I'm going to name proper checkbox selected, right? This will be my test. Now, instead of this print and printing on the console, I'm going to initialize the driver and start the browser. And here at the beginning, I will have one private variable to the driver, the web driver, and I will call this private variable driver. I'm without enter, you need to import the class. Also, I'm going to leave one line, and then with before all of the testing this class, we need to download the proper driver instead of doing it this manually, adding it to source control. No need to do that. Basically, this class WebDriver Manager, this utility class, will do this for you. It will basically detect the version of your browser, and it will download the proper driver. And we need to do this only once. Then, with this line, driver equals new Chrome driver, we will basically here, before each test, we are going to start the Chrome driver. And of course, we need to close it. So we will close it like this. We will check whether it's initialized or not. If it's initialized, we're going to quit. Basically, you're going to close the browser. At some point, you may optimize the tests, but maybe during the later modules from our course, I'm going to show you how you can speed up this a little bit by reusing the driver and deleting some of the cookies. But for now, let's leave it like this. Now, we need first to navigate to the URL of the to-do app, and we are doing this through navigate, and then you need to call to methods and mention the URL as a string. And we need to find, basically, we need to initialize, as I told you, I want to type a date into to-do item. So I'm going to use the Java local date class, and because this is my birthday, I have a birthday soon. So I will use local date, and all of these date-related classes in WebDriver have these factory methods. This is called a factory method. Basically, this static method will produce for you an instance of a local date. And as you can see, we have different options here, and I will use the first factory method. And we need to type the year first, then we need to type the month, and then the day. Now, we need to format this as a string. In Java, we do this through datetime formatter, and I will use the US date format. And then this date time formatter has again of pattern factory method where I can mention the format that we need to format the local date, and I will use this format here. First, the day of the month, then the month itself, and then the year, which is like this. This is basically this format here. It will format the date like this. Next, we need to basically format the date. I will call this date to type is equal to US date format, and then I need to provide the birthday local date, and this will generate a string. And then we need to find the input where I need to type this date. This is the input. let me inspect it. When you right click here, you can click inspect, or you can press F12 and use this button here. Let me show you. And here we have an ID, so we can find this input text by this ID, sample to do text. So I'm going to initialize and find the element, and then I will call it to do input. And I will call the driver find element, and then I'm going to use the by class ID. This is how we are going to find it. And then I'm going to paste this ID. And then the to-do input has a method that is called send keys. Basically, this will type the text, in our case, my birthday. And afterwards, we need, of course, to find the add button. Here is the add button. And here we have another ID, add button. So you can use var add button. Var is basically a keyword that represents any type of element. Java will automatically detect the type of the element for you, but I prefer to use it because it makes the code more concise. And here, of course, we are going to use ID. And then you need to call the click method here. Now, after this, we need to find all of the checkboxes. And basically, for example, click the second one. How we can do this, I want to show you one more. As you can see, we can use this ng model attributes. Now let me show you how we can write XPath to find it. As you can see, first we can find these AOI elements, and then we can find all of them that has this ng model attribute. So we can say with add, we specify the name of the attribute, ag repeat, and then we can mention that we want to find all AOI elements. As you can see, there are 5 of them, but we need to find this input. So we need to write /input. Then if we want to get the text, we will change the input with span. Now, here I'm going to show you another method. I'm going to use again var to do checkboxes equal driver dot. There is another element, another method called find elements. This will find all of the checkboxes. It will return a list of elements, and instead of by ID, I'm going to use by XPath, and I am going to write the XPath that I already did, found. And after that, since as you can see here, if we have you can see that we return here a list of web elements, and I can call here get, and to get an element by index. So I'm going to click the third one like this, and now it's the time to find all of the spans where it's the text here. Again, as you can see, it's just below, so we can modify a little bit the XPath like this, and as you can see, we have 5 results, right? So I'm going to use this XPath here, and I'm going to name this var to do infos equal to driver find elements by XPath. And now it's the time to show you how we can make assertions, because for every test to be a real test, we need to do some kind of verifications. In JUnit, we have this special class called assertions in JUnit 5. And here there are tons of assertion methods. Basically, this is the verification methods, where you first put the expected result, then the actual result, and most of them you can put some kind of a message to be printed in case of mismatch between them, in case of error. So here I'm going to use assertEquals, and I'm going to assert that the proper text has been located in the checkbox that I showed you here. So when I type this date, I want to verify that basically the fifth element by index is with this text here. So we are going to get this text here, right? And assert whether the proper text is there. So I'm going to locate the to-do infos. Then I'm going to say, because we start to count from 0. This is why the sixth element is actually with index 5. So here I'm going to type 5, and then we need to use the get text getter to get the text. And this is how we call this method from the assertion. There are many other static methods part of this class that you can use. Maybe another one that it's frequently used in JUnit and you're going to use in Selenium testing is the one that it's called assertTrue, whether some Boolean expression is true or false. Let me show you. For example, like this. It's a string. This is our expected URL. And we can write something like this. As I said, we can write first, we can check whether the expected URL is equals to the current URL. You can get it by this method here. And as I said, if you hover, you will see that we can put a message. This message will be displayed in case of a failure. So many often we use this assert true. Also, we have the opposite, which is assert is false, of course. Now, another useful method that I frequently use in Selenium testing is if we want to get and verify an array of elements. For example, we can write an assertion to check that all of these items here are present. And I can initialize the expected string array. And I can get all the elements and then use the stream API to map them and use the, as you will see, there is a special method called assertArrayEquals. So we can write the expected like this. This is expected items, new string array, and we can initialize all of the items like this, right? And then again, you can call assertions dot assert array equals. As you can see, there are many overloads of this method that accepts different stuff. We have already a string version of it, and this is why I can write something like this. Actually, I don't have the actual to-do infos. We need to write it. I can write something like this. I'm going to write stream. I'm going to use the stream API. This is something from the newer version of Java. Let me show you. Actual to-do infos equal to to-do infos. Basically, these are all text elements of the spans where this is there. Of course, when we work with it, this is a list of web elements, so we cannot assert directly compare it with array of strings, right? We need to convert it to array of strings, and we can use the stream API. You can check the Java docs, search for it. There are tons of information, and it's quite useful. Basically, you can, through the stream API, you can write, there are tons of methods like map to int, map to string, like count, you have a where, you have a filter. There are many of them, but there is a special method called map, where we can extract the information. I'm going to write x, or this is just a temporal variable in the Lambda expression, and I can use get text. Basically, we are going to get only the text from this array of elements, and we are going to put it into a new array. But to do so, you need to call to array method. And basically here, we will extract only the text from all of these spans, and we will return it to actual infos here. And we are going to compare through assertions assertEquals. Another useful method sometimes we might use is basically to, for example, if you have a custom test automation framework and you want to write some checks whether it's working properly or not, we may want to check whether your code is throwing a proper exception or not. And in order to show you, you remember our simple calculator. I added a new method called divide, where we are dividing two numbers, and of course we cannot divide by 0. So I am throwing here a new arithmetic exception. And if we JUnit 5 give us a new possibility to assert whether a particular exception is thrown or not. So I can write something like this. Even I can extract the exception and check the message. So I can get the exception like this. Exception equals assertions, assertThrows, and then I need to provide the class of the expected exception. In my case, this is arithmetic exception dot class. And then through Lambda expression, I need to call through anonymous method, I need to call my calculator. In my case, I'm going to initialize a new instance of the calculator and call divide. And I'm going to try to divide 1 by 0. And this will throw, of course, this arithmetic exception. And afterwards, because you have the original exception, and we'll check the whether the type is proper, but here we cannot check directly the message. I can write a basically a second assertion, and assert that this proper text is there in the exception message, because I can get the message from here. I can call the get message and check whether the proper message was displayed or not. Sometimes, as you know, when you're writing tests for the web, there are many asynchronous stuff, and many often you have long processes. And sometimes you will want to check that there isn't like a timeout for these long tasks. I already showed you the timeout annotation. However, we have similar assertion. So we can write, you have assert timeout, and we can use here we can use the factory methods of the duration class. Basically, the duration is special class in Java that it's measuring periods of time, right? And there is a special factory method called of seconds, and or of minutes. I'm going to use minutes of minutes, and I'm going to use 2 minutes, and then after that, again, through Lambda expression, if we have a multi-line code, not just a single one, here perform your tasks. And if there is a problem, here you will get the proper exception message. Also keep in mind that for all these assertions, by the way, you can delete the static class, and you can import you can make a static import and make the code a little bit shorter like this. So basically, you will have the opportunity to write without the assertions, but you will have to know what particular what is the name of the assertion method, right? So at the beginning, I suggest you to not statically import the assertions. And when you get used and know that you are going to use these 5 methods, for example, you can do this static import for the assertions. And what else? Also in the JUnit 5, there is a special new class, actually method for grouping exceptions. And basically this in group assertions, all assertions are executed and all of the failures will be reported together. It has an optimal heading parameter which will allow you to recognize group of assertions, and we do that with this assertions assert all, and afterwards we use Lambda expressions like this to call the different parts of the code. Like we can have this line here, then we can move the assertion assertFalse, again like another Lambda. You can write comma, you can write many lines like this, right? And all of these assertions will be run together and you will get the proper result. But because otherwise, if this fails, basically the test will stop here. But if you use assertAll, you will continue the execution. And I want to show you one last thing about the assertions, and actually we are going to write it together. This is a special datetime class. Actually, I'm going to directly show you the implementation of it. Because many times we need to check dates. However, in JUnit and in other similar frameworks, there isn't a proper, a proper method for this. Maybe the closest thing to it is if you need to assert, for example, 2 doubles in JUnit. If we need to assert doubles and we need to check with some kind of a precision and you want to ignore it, you have a delta assertions, you have a delta, this delta property, right? If we have it, you'll see that we have delta. And many often we want to do this for dates. For example, if I have like this, the current datetime, current time, and if we have current time in past, and we have local datetime dot now, and then we say we can say that it's minus minutes, and we can return it 3 minutes. And because many often, when you are testing an application, you need to verify some kind of a date with the time, and we want to ignore parts of the seconds or the minutes or whatever when there is a difference. Again, it's hard to do it, and we can write our own implementation of it. Let me show you. I can add a new enumeration called datetime delta type. You can add a new, whether it's with days or minutes or seconds, as you wish. And then we can create a new class that it's called datetime assert. I will add it to source control, and directly I'm going to show you the code that I wrote before. We have a special static class that is called assertEquals that accepts two local dates, the expected date time and the actual date time. We have the datetime delta type and basically the delta. This is the count. We're throwing exceptions if some of them is null. And the most interesting part is here. We're basically getting the delta as a duration by the datetime delta type. Whether it's days or minutes, we're using again duration of days and of minutes. These are the factory methods. So first we're initializing this expected delta as a duration. Then basically the most important part of the code is this total seconds difference. We're using this math apps, which comes from Absolute. This is a special math library of Java, and we are basically calculating the difference in seconds between the two date times. And afterwards, we are comparing the difference with the expected delta seconds. And if there is a problem, we're throwing an exception. The way we use this in our Selenium tests is right here below. I can call datetime assert dot, and then I can call dot assert equals. First, I'm going to call the expected. I'm going to call no matter. For example, first the current time, then the current time in the past. These are the two date times that we want to compare. Then I'm going to use the datetime minutes. Then I'm going to say 3 or 4 minutes difference. If it's in this 4 minutes and the difference is up to 4 minutes, this assertion will be fine. And of course, we need to add an assertion to our method. So this was our video about assertions. I hope that it was useful to you. Check the Lambda test blog for more information about JUnit in the JUnit tutorial. Also, you can in the video below, you can find a link to get a free testing of the platform, which is awesome, and you will see it in the next videos when we are going to talk about parallel testing and parallel testing in the cloud. And also, if you have questions, you can ask them in the GitHub repo or here as a comment. And also, don't forget to earn your certification on Lambda test certifications JUnit. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.